This is Sonia Wagner with Zahra Shire from Permanent Care and Adoptive Families, and today we're going to show you how to create an account and register online for our flexible funding funds. So Zahra, over to you to show us how all the systems work.
Thanks, Sonia. So our system has changed at PCA Families and everything has now moved online to our website. So families who are interested in putting in a request for flexible funding will now need to access our website at pcafamilies.org.au. Once you log into this website, you will come to our home page. Over here on the top right-hand corner, there's a login button, and this is where it will prompt you to either one, create an account if you don't have one already, or you can log in with your account if you do have one. If you don't have an account, click on here where it says don't have an account, and then proceed with filling in these questions. So you will need to fill in your first name, last name, your email address, enter your password here twice. You need to ensure that your password has 8 characters, 2 digits, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and a symbol. This is really important, otherwise it will not allow you to proceed. How did you hear about PCA Families? Do you want to receive email marketing updates and register? Once you have registered, it may ask you to activate your account or to reset your password to ensure that you are the person accessing this account. If you access your email address, log into your email, you will find a reset your password request, reset your password, and then you will be able to log in through our portal. If you have any problems at this stage, feel free to contact our office and our client service officers will be able to assist you. So let's proceed with logging in. So once you've created your username and password, log in, and this will bring you to our members area. So we'll just go through some of the options that you have in your profile, in your portal. So you've got update profile. So over here, you can put in your personal details, and you can also update and change your password here if need be. Then you have become a member. So if you want to become a PCA Families member, you can do that on the portal as well. Flexi Funding form, and I'll go through this shortly. This is where you submit your new request for flexible funding. My forms, my flexible funding, and you can also log out through here. So we'll go through these 3 tabs. So Flexi Funding form is when you create any flexible funding request. Before you proceed with filling out the application, you need to ensure that you have a Victorian permanent care order in place and have it handy beside you so that you could fill in this application. If you are on an Australian adoption order or a parenting order via the family court and you are receiving carer allowance from DFFH, also known as DHHS, you are eligible for flexible funding and you need to have those details beside you as you proceed with this application. Please note, children are over the age of 18 are not eligible for flexible funding unless they are still receiving carer allowance. Then that is a special circumstance that we can take into consideration. Or if your permanent care order is less than 12 months of being granted, unfortunately, you will not be eligible for flexible funding. So to proceed with your online application, you will need to begin with creating a nickname or a name to sort of summarize what your application is about. So for instance, we're just going to assume that I'm going to be putting in an application for orthodontist fees. So this will be my nickname for my application, and I'll explain why this is handy in a second. about you. So this is where you fill in your basic details. So I'll put in my name as the carer. And my address. There we go. This section here about additional carer, if you have a partner that is also on the permanent care court order or any other carer that is on the permanent care court order, you can fill out their details here. If you are an agency who is doing this referral, or if you are a friend or a relative filling out this application, you do need to tick this box as yes and enter your full name here and select whether you are an additional carer or if you're just assisting the application. So I don't have anyone assisting me, so I'm going to tick no. Is this your first application? Yes or no? If this is your first application, you will tick yes and answer these following questions. If this is not your first application, you can proceed with saying no. What is your preferred contact time? You can contact me anytime during business hours. Over here is where you will create the child's details, who this application is for. So on this application, I'm going to create my child. So to create your child, just click on create child and type in the child's details. Fill in the date of birth, gender. Is your child identify as an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander? Is your child's placement a Victorian PCO, Australian Adoption Order, or Family Court Parenting Order? So what is the number on the court order? So the number on the court order is the reference number on the court order that, so if you have a Victorian Permanent Care Court Order, your reference number is on the top right hand. When is the date that order was granted? So the date that the order was granted is really important. As mentioned before, if the court order is less than 12 months old, unfortunately, they will not be eligible for flexible funding. Is the child name on the order the same as the one you've entered above? So if the child's name both match, tick yes. If not, you will need to fill in here the name that the child's PCO name is mentioned on the court order needs to be written over here. So I'm just going to put that it's the same. Oh, I'll just tick yes. If applicable, which department of DFFH, also known as DHS, is the office located? So we're just going to assume mine is in Geelong, and I'll just put in Geelong. Are you currently receiving the Victorian DFFH carer allowance for this child? So again, you need to be receiving carer allowance to be able to proceed with this application. So if you are, tick yes. If not, unfortunately, you will not be able to proceed with this application. Prior to the order, where was your child? So if your child was in foster care, kinship, or other, that also needs to be mentioned. Over here, you will need to upload a copy of the actual order. This is important. If this is your first time, it is important that you upload your order. If this is not your first time applying for flexible funding and if you have already provided a copy, you do not need to upload this. We can do this for you. So and then click on update child. So now this child's details are now on the form. And then we click on add to form. it is really important that you click on Add to Form so that in future, if you are applying for an application again, you don't need to repeat this stage. It's already automatically saved onto your application for next time. Over here in the next question, this is where you will discuss a little bit about how this funding request that you're putting in will benefit your child. So just a couple of sentences here about how this will benefit your child, and this will help us in making our decision. If you, however, have any recommendations from other health professionals, you can attach that instead of filling this out. But if you could just put in 1 or 2 sentences, this will help you, this will help proceed with your application. If you have any other funding resources that you have tried before, for example, VACA, Kinship Care Victoria, and they haven't worked out, do add those details here so that we are aware. Are there any special circumstances as to why you need flexible funding at this time? So if there are anything that you think that we may need to know to help with your application and progress your application, this is where you will indicate that. Otherwise, you can just proceed with ticking no. So I'm just going to put in a couple of sentences here. This funding. Building. Are you currently working with DFFH Child Protection for any of the children on your order? So if you still have a case manager with Child Protection, you do need to let us know over here. The next question is provider details. So this is where you will fill out the name of the provider that you are seeking the funding for. So mine is called Smith Street Dental Clinic. That's the name of the provider who's doing the procedure for Alice. The cost is $4,000, and I am seeking to have the full amounts funded by PCA Families if possible. Sometimes there may be circumstances where you only want half of this to be funded. So over here, you will just type in the amount that you actually want funded from PCA Families. So $2,000. I'm going to proceed with having the full thing funded. Consent to contact. If you tick this box, that means that you've given PCA Families consent to contact the dental clinic if they need to contact them, for example, in obtaining an invoice or anything in regards to this application. By ticking this box, you're giving PCA Families the ability to contact the clinic on your behalf. Supporting documentation. This is where you will need to attach, mandatory. It is important for you to attach proof of your carer allowance payment from the department within the last 30 days. So that means 2 copies of your most recent payment remittances will need to be attached to this application in order for us to proceed. If you have not attached a copy of the DFFH remittance, unfortunately, this application will be sent back to you in order for you to attach. And this will need to be attached every single time an application is being made. You will also need to attach any quotes or invoices that you have or receipts for this application. And this is where you will also upload any supporting letters or reports or treatment plans that have not already been attached. You can attach that here. So I'm just going to attach my documents. So we'll just assume that I've attached all 3. and then we'll tick these. And then we will save and submit once we have completely filled out this application. So I'm happy with this application. So I'll click on save and submit. Okay. Okay, so I haven't attached everything that I needed to attach in order for me to proceed. But ideally, once you have attached everything and you click on save and submit, this automatically gets sent to PCA Families. We'll go back to the portal now. So my forms over here, this is where you will find any applications that you have either submitted or are currently working on. So if you need to go back to an application that you are working on, this is where you will find it. This is where you'll find the application number and the nickname that you gave your application during the initial stages. If you are wanting to go back to the form that you were working on, please avoid from going back into Flexi Funding form, because this will automatically create a new one for you. So if you do want to access something that you've already are working on, it's important that you click on My Forms. My Flexible Funding children over here will have all the children's names that you have created, and they will be saved and stored here so that every time you fill out an application, you can just access them through here. If you have any questions or queries or any difficulties in filling out your flexible funding application or creating an account, feel free to contact us through this number over here during business hours, Monday to Friday, 9 AM to 5 PM. Select option 1 for flexible funding, and one of our staff members will gladly be able to assist you. Thank you and goodbye.